I don't know about you, but so many times I hear people saying, I can't wait till I retire so I can be doing a lot more traveling. And we decided, why would we want to wait? Retirement's only a couple of years away, but we're ready to travel now. If you're anything like us, these tips are going to be a game changer to help you maximize your travel before you retire. G'day, I'm Dean, a recently retired veteran of the travel industry. This is my wife, Pauline, unfortunately still stuck in the rat race. Together we visited over 30 countries in 30 plus years in what we refer to as our retirement trial run, bringing you insider tips, budget hacks and unique destinations to help you find your ideal travel lifestyle. I've been using the experience I gained from 12 years in the travel industry and the extensive travel that Pauline and I have done together over the years to work out how to maximise our travel opportunities. Things have changed a little. I'm retired, but unfortunately Pauline's still a couple of years from that. But we're still working on those ways to get every day of vacation time that we can possibly find. And today I'm going to share my top tips for helping you squeeze every extra vacation minute while you're still on the 9 to 5 grind. So whether it's checking off some of those last minute bucket list items while you still do have the full-time income, or whether it's your chance to go and experience some of the places that you're considering as a post-retirement destination to live or for a long-term stay, we've got you covered with these tips. And I'll also be sharing some of our own travel stories, so hopefully they can inspire you to maximize your travel. You might have started to notice that as we get older, unfortunately our mobility has probably dropped off a little bit. Our energy levels, our desire for comfort even has increased. The best idea is to be planning your trips so that you've got that little bit of rest and recovery time, that you're not trying to overexert yourself, maybe do things that you could have done 20 or 30 years ago, because the last thing you want is to injure yourself early on in your trip and have to miss the best parts of what was potentially to come. Another thing that you probably find is that it really didn't bother you to do a 15-hour, 20, 30-hour travel day to get somewhere on the other side of the world. But it's a lot less comfortable on a plane for that long than it was 20 and 30 years ago. Look for places where you can stop along the way if you're taking longer flights to get to a further destination. Have layovers. Make sure you're taking a longer trip, so you give yourself that first couple of days to recover a little bit before you start off on that adventure. Because when it comes down to it, travel in our younger days may have been about jamming in as many things as possible that we could do in the short amount of time that we could do it. But now it's about maximizing our experiences in those times, which doesn't necessarily mean do as much as you can. It means do the things that you really want to do, but make sure you're in the best possible condition to do them. You don't want to be exhausted trying to do a bucket list item so that you don't enjoy it, or you half do it because you're so worn out. Make sure that your planning allows plenty of that time to rest, recover, and then do things while you're at your peak possible performance. A few years ago, we decided for our 25th anniversary to tick off one of our biggest bucket list items. We were going to go to Machu Picchu. Now, we knew our bodies weren't up to doing any of the hiking, but we found a great tour that still gave us that whole experience, but without uncomfortable camping in the bush and walking for 15 hours a day. And it's just one of those things where we still got 100% of the experience, but we didn't have to do the real hard yards to do it. It's about traveling smart. It's not about just traveling for the sake of it. So that little bit of research can really make a big difference to how much you're going to enjoy your trip. There's quite a few ways that you can get the most or get more from your vacation days if you really sit down and think about it, and with a bit of planning. You're not just restricted to your 2 weeks of annual leave, 4 weeks of annual leave, depending on where you live. Think about public holidays. Think about if you get allocated or rostered days off. Think about those opportunities where if you can take a couple of days either side of a long weekend, for example, you can get yourself a week and a half to almost 2 weeks of vacation just to have one additional day close to a weekend and make a normal weekend into a long weekend. Gives you the opportunity to travel somewhere. And not every destination needs to be 24-hour travel distance away from you. I'm pretty sure that no matter where you live, there are some things close enough to you that you've had your eye on or that you don't know about. Maybe do a bit of research on that thing, but you can find things that suit the time period that you've got. We have a personal rule when we travel, and that is that however many hours it's going to take us to get somewhere, we want a minimum of that many days to experience it. Not always possible because we live in Australia and everywhere's a long way away. But if you live in the United States, then there's no reason why you can't get down to Mexico. Might take you 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to get there for a long weekend. There are places that we've been to down there that are absolutely amazing, and 3 or 4 days is a great time period to experience them well. You could go to Canada, you could go to the Caribbean. You've got so many options. For us, there are very few places that we go within 2 or 3 hours. Most of them we've got, say, 9 hours or more to get to most of Asia, plus any connecting flights. So we want a minimum of 7 days to go anywhere in that respect. If we're going over to North America, then we want at least 2 weeks. If we're going to Europe, we want 3 or 4 weeks. It's about getting, once again, maximizing that time, but also maximizing the useful travel time that you've got. You don't want to have 5 days off and be traveling 24 hours to get somewhere, be so exhausted when you get there that you need 2 days to recover properly, have 1 full day experience, and then you're back on for 24 hours to fly back home. What a crazy way to live your life, and a massive waste of money, really. Wait for those longer trips until either you're retired or until you can get a week or two to experience them properly. Find the places that are closer to home and really maximize those few days. You've only got a weekend. Doesn't mean you just have to stay home and do yard work. A weekend can still be a great place. If you leave on Friday night, come home on Sunday night, you can have 2 entire days experiencing a place that's pretty close by. Let's talk money. Now, we all love to travel, but at this stage of your life, there's a bit of a balancing act between how much do you spend on your travel now and how much do you save for retirement and the travel that you want to do during that period. And this is where flexibility in your travel can come into it. If you've got the opportunity to choose the time of year that you take your vacation time, then take it in a shoulder season or an off season. But if you can travel in a shoulder season, not only can you save a lot of money on airfares and probably accommodation, but it's also going to give you the chance to experience the place with smaller crowds. So it can be a great time to go. Unfortunately, not everyone has that option. Some people have set vacation time that they can have per year, certain times of the year, which limits those options. You may have to pay a bit more then, but it still comes down to that decision. Do you take those big ticket bucket list items now and spend the money, knowing that in retirement you're going to have to be a little bit more budget conscious, find the cheaper destinations? Not that they're worse destinations, but you may have to limit yourself to how grand your adventures can be. Or do you save that money now, still go to places that you want to go, but see some of the cheaper, easier to get to places now, knowing that those bucket list items can become part of something bigger after you've retired. As an example, we've just returned from a few months in Europe. We did Spain and Portugal. Now, we chose to do it on the shoulder season. We knew that there were some things that were going to be better in summer, but summer's also a time when those countries are full of tourists, when the prices are far more expensive. Accommodation may not only be expensive, but also incredibly hard to find in some places. So we decided we'd leave it till the very end of summer and then spend the entire autumn, fall, exploring Europe. Temperatures were fantastic. We were still able to experience some of the beaches in the early part in particular. The crowds were significantly down on what we would have been dealing with a month, 2, 3 months earlier. We got to do everything we want. We got to do it cheaper than we would have if we'd have gone at another time of year. It worked out perfectly. Luckily, we had that flexibility to be able to go at that time of year. We've also had experiences in the past when our daughter was traveling with us and she was still at school, where it was only during school vacation time that we actually got to travel. And that can be a very expensive proposition, one that I'm glad we don't have to worry about anymore. And on final note on the finance side of things, we don't necessarily love being labelled as seniors, but if it means something can work in your favour, then I'm happy to live with that label. There are many countries that offer discounts. There are many airlines. There are many hotel chains, restaurants that offer discounts for seniors. There will be different age limitations on different places, but it's certainly worth looking into. If you can save yourself 5, 10, 20% on something, do the things you want, show some sort of an ID to prove your age, and the money stays in your pocket. It means more travel for you, less money each day. So have a look into it. You might be surprised to find the things that are offered as senior discounts. The chances are that being this close to retirement, you've probably worked in the same place for quite some considerable time. You've probably, hopefully, built up a reputation that you're an employee worth having. So why not see if there's any opportunity for you to leverage that respect that you've garnered, the experience that you've garnered, and have a talk to your boss to see if there's any way that you can do what many people consider a senior or an adult gap year. It might be the opportunity for you to have 3, 6, 12 months off at reduced or possibly even zero pay, but knowing that there's a job for you to come back at. There are many workplaces that are now open to this, understanding that to keep a good employee, it's worth giving them that little bit of flexibility, knowing that they're going to come back and they haven't just lost you completely. Another one, is there a possibility that you can work remotely, whether for a short period of time or permanently? If that's an option for you at your workplace, then why not give it a try? Wouldn't you rather be working remotely from overseas than from your house or from your office at the workplace? It may mean that you've got some uncomfortable hours to be working from wherever you base yourself overseas, but that's a small price to pay to have all that extra time to explore a new place. And you're going to be being paid for it while you do it. Sounds like a win-win to me. For the last couple of years before I retired, I was working with one of the world's leading luxury river cruise lines, as a consultant to assist travel agents to be able to sell their product to their clients. I was working on a contract basis at that stage, with 12-month contracts being offered and then extensions. Pauline and I decided that we wanted to go and have 3 months to travel and really see what it was like to live in another country for a longer period of time. So as my contract ended and they were ready to offer me an extension, I broached the subject of having that time off and then coming back to start the new contract. Fortunately, they were open to the idea and we ended up having a fantastic time. So workplace flexibility may be an option for you. And if you don't ask about those options, then you may be missing out on a huge opportunity. If you've ever read anything on the Next Stop Retirement travel blog, you probably know that Pauline and I are huge fans of road tripping. We love the opportunities that you get for flexibility, for discovering places along the way that you never knew existed and having the time to stop and see and experience them. But there are some places in the world, probably some of your bucket list places, that really would be better explored as part of a small group. For example, we decided we want to spend our 25th anniversary exploring Machu Picchu. And it was somewhere that we definitely were going to try to road trip. We had a little bit of criteria that we wanted to go. We knew the places that we wanted to go and see. We wanted to make sure that there was free time built into the schedule of the trip. We also didn't want to have more than a dozen or so people on the trip. We didn't want to be part of a massive group where you're just a number. What we got out of that experience was a whole new appreciation of small group touring. We met people that wanted to do exactly the same things that we wanted to do. They had that same adventurous spirit. Everything about it, the guides, the hosts, but particularly the little extras that I never would have thought of or may not have been able to book if I'd have done it myself. Things like having lunch in the Valley of the Inca with a local family at their house. What an amazing experience, and something that you wouldn't expect to have if you wouldn't even consider having if you were trying to book this whole thing yourself. So have a consideration of that, whether you've done it before, whether you've never considered it before. It might be something that ends up being much better than you expected, as it was for us. So there you go. They're my top tips for how to make the most of your travel while you're still working full time, knowing that retirement's not too far away. If you're anything like me, there's a chance you've already forgotten some of the information in this video. Luckily for both of us, there's a link in the description that'll take you through to a comprehensive guide on all of this, plus some more ideas as well. Oh, one last thing before you go. You've heard enough about us. We'd like to know a little bit about you. Leave a comment down below, introduce yourself, and tell us where you are in your retirement journey.